right. So for the part 2 of the roller coaster project, people are wanting to make it look really cool. And to make it look really cool, you kind of have to have a little more control over how the graph looks. So what I wanted to do is just kind of start off by showing you some tricks that may give you a hand here. So let's see if I can actually draw onto... Where did my pencil go? There it is. All right. So I want my roller coaster maybe to look something like this. I'm going to have it start flat. Okay, I'm going to have it start flat. And then I want it to kind of go up like this. And then maybe curve over for the first big hill. Go under. And then maybe have another like platform where it has a little flat part. And let's just start with that, just kind of a vision of what we want to do. So I know right now that I'm going to basically have 3 types of equations. I'm going to have a linear equation. So I'm going to put in the generic form of a linear equation. Y equals mx plus b. Okay. And the thing that says add sliders, I'm going to actually do that. I'm going to add them all. Oh, whoops. It's numbering things. I don't want it to do that. Stop that. How do I make it stop doing that? Nope. So I want to not get frustrated. Don't get frustrated. It just makes things go slower. I promise. Exit draw. There we go. I knew I'd figure it out. Maybe. There we go. I want to add sliders. And eventually I'm going to use this to kind of move my line around. But I want to get all of my base equations in. So that was linear. I know quadratic comes from an equation with x squared in it. But as we've learned in our explorations, we can have a number out front that changes the width of the parabola and the direction that it faces. And then we can have a number inside that changes the left and right of the two. And then we can have a squared here. That's how we get our parabola. And then we can have a number at the end that gives us the vertical position. So I'm going to add all of those sliders as well. Yep, there we go. So see the red up here put in just as generic parabola. All right. And then we need to have at least one higher order function. So let's put in a cubic function. Whoops, y equals. And we have to change our letters every time. You can't reuse slider letters. So I've already used A and B. So let's use C. And then in parentheses, and it's going to be a cubic function. So I want to have a lot of control over this, but I think I can get away with just using a generic form with the generic shifts. So that the thing inside of the parentheses always is your left-right shift, A, B, C, D. And the thing outside of it is going to be your vertical shift. Can't use E because it's yours number. You can't use F, G because we're going to end up using those as functions. So I'm just going to skip all the way down to N. Why? Because I felt like it. You can use whatever letters you want. You just can't repeat them. All right, there's all of my sliders for that. So when I look at these three, I think that the first thing I want to do is I want to start with the linear. So I'm going to turn off the other two just to kind of get rid of the distraction. And now what I want to do is I want to play with this guy until it gets the flat line where I want it. And I'm just using my eyes, and then I'll look at the numbers. let's see, I think I want to pivot there. I'm going to bring the slope down to, of course, 0. Whoa, we go back. 2, 1, 0. So yeah, duh, y equals 0 is that line on the x-axis. All right, well, I can put that in. Now I'm going to type in an actual keeper function. So we're going to just call this f of x. And I just have f of x equals 0 because that's what happens when you have zeros for your slope and your intercept, right? Is the right-hand side of this equation becomes 0. But I want to cut it off at about 2. So I want it to go from 0 to 2. So that's where these curly brackets come in. And I would like it to start at 0 and be in between 0 and 2. Close curly brackets. Now, there's a purple line underneath my red scribbles. I'm going to get rid of the green one just so you can see the purple one maybe a little bit better. It's right there underneath my red. Okay. Now this next one, like this part of the hill, looks almost like a cubic to me. See how it kind of has it curves in and then starts to curve out the other way? So I'm going to turn on my generic cubic function and play around with it. All right, so first let's see if I can kind of make the shape what I want. And the shape's always going to be controlled by that number in front. So I want to keep it positive. Yeah, that looks pretty close, right? Do you see how the black and the red line are kind of parallel? And then, so if I want to shift it to the right, I don't really need to shift it much. I'm going to shift it down first. Oops, come back. You can do this, of course, with just typing in the numbers. But I'm just trying to use my eyeballs a little bit more. Oh, too far. One more. I just want it at 0. Here. I want you to be 0, please. Not 0.1, 0. Oh, and of course I just deleted you. That's all right. Control Z. Best friend? Yes. So if you do something like I just did, and you lose it, you can always Control Z to get back. All right. So now I want to shift it to the right a little bit. So that means I'm going to go... Oop. How about there? Good. And that looks like it's about the right shape all the way up until whatever this is. Up until about 4. No, up until about 3.4. So I really want it to go from, probably overlap a little bit with the purple. So let's go from 1.5 to 3.4. So now we've got to actually type in the real equation. So the real equation we'll call g of x. And I want it to be, all right, so we're basing it off of this black one here. So c is 0.5. And then x minus d is 1.4. Close it, cube it, and then add on nothing. Okay, so that black one is now the same as this one. So I can turn it off, and now I can limit this guy to, what did we say, 1.5? So 1.5 to about 3.4. Close parentheses. Nice. Sweet. Feels like it's time for a parabola, doesn't it? This looks very parabolic to me. So we're going to repeat the same process, and now we're just going to turn on the generic parabola. All right. So I need to flip them over. I need to move them to the right. I need to move them up, and then we'll have to change the curvature. And fatter is, whoops, the other way. There we go. Perfect. All right, I think you guys are getting the point. This is an excellent way to make your roller coaster conform to what your mind sees as the vision of what you want. And it's an easier way to do it than sitting there and just trying to guess and check numbers. The sliders make all the difference in the world. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.